Can't trust a forward. Listen to my words tonight. Don't just fall in love with my face. I used to be somewhat of a big deal, wheeling and dealing, no bucket in the warm-up, people carrying my bags in. How many times do I have to tell you through text, let's talk about the PK? That is a dirty hit that needs a response. I like a stiff, stout pillow. We'd rather dress nobody than dress you.
The only thing I like better than easy points are free Slurpees.
Goalies embellish all the time. He tumbled over like he was hit by a Zamboni. Am I this good, or are we just winning by 7 goals, and that's why I'm out here? Just say, I know you're right, Struddy. Just get it out. I think I am the modern-day Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, I get no respect.
And now, Weiss Johnson presents Struddy's World. Here's your host, a guy who paused the sands of time just to be with us here today, Jason Strudwick.
Oh, man, how's it going? We are indeed walking through the sands of time. That's my voicemail. If you ever call me, I can just put my phone on the road. You can all call me. I got nothing but time. How are we doing today? I hope everyone's having a good one here today. We've got a big show planned. Obviously, there's myself, there's Zuby with us, and then the voice of the Edmonton Oilers, Jack Michaels, will join us in about 10 to 15 minutes time. As always, we're proudly sponsored and happy to have these guys as sponsors, our good buddies from Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. Should you need a new train furnace, air conditioner, heat pump, hot water tank, or garage heater, Weiss Johnson is now offering 24 months, no interest, equal payments, OAC to make your purchase easier heading into the Christmas season. Their family helping your family for nearly 50 years. Visit wjjingle.com for exclusive specials just for your got your back jingle lovers. Zuby, hit it, big guy.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Oh, man, I remember going on these long ones. This is a long one. It's as long as it gets. 7-game road trips. It doesn't get much longer than this for the Edmonton Oilers, Zuby. They headed out yesterday. They drove out. They play the Flyers tonight, Jackets tomorrow. Then they have the Hurricanes, Sabres, Caps, Tampa, and Panthers, and fly home. You know, it depends if you think they come home that night or is it the 23rd. 12 to 13-day road trip, Zuby. This is a long one.
Yeah, does it even get longer? I know they only even ever have them longer if there's scheduling conflicts at the arenas, but this is really about as long as it gets league-wide, is it not?
It's huge, and this is all in the East, so this is a really, really long road trip for these guys. They had a morning skate this morning. They have the same lines, same setup, including Emerson, which Zuby, for me, is a bit of a surprise. I thought Emerson struggled last game. Puck was at best dying on a stick and at worst leading to opportunities for the other team. Depends how you want to frame it. If you're his dad or his agent or maybe the coach, I thought Regula would be in there. He is healthy. Regula is healthy. He is not playing, but the lineup is the same. So surprise to me on that front, Zuby. So they line up the same lineup. They take on the Flyers. The Flyers are a team that are good defensively, not scoring a lot, and currently in a wild card position. So, as you mentioned off the top, the Oilers are on a 7-game road trip. In there, they have, in order, a wild card team, a team out of the playoffs, a second-place team out of the playoffs, Sabres, Caps out of the playoffs, wild card Tampa, Panthers out. All these teams are very close, so you have 1 or 2 wins, you can go up or down. So, the East is very, very tight. So, whether you're in or out doesn't really matter too much. If you're in, doesn't mean you're in for long. If you're out, doesn't mean you're out for long. All these teams are fairly good defensively. You have the Caps, who are the best defensive team for goals against in the league. You got the Flyers, and Tampa, who are both top 5 or top 6 in the league. Then the Panthers and Hurricanes, they're also in top third of the league. So these teams can defend for the most part. Zuby, just give you a sense of where the Oilers are at in goals against their not in the best situation yet. 6th worst actually in the league. So to make it in English, the bottom third of goals against per game. Yeah. Looking at this 7-game road trip, we want to hear from you on the stream. Put it up there. Tell us what you think their record needs to be. You and I are going to kind of maybe give some tips for what they need to do going into it. And then we'll give what we believe they need to do, not what they're going to do, what they need to do to come back in relatively decent position in a pretty tough 7-game road trip. So Zuby, When you look at this 7-game road trip, is there an area of the Oilers game they have to be focused on and dialed in and have success in to carry into all 7 games and come out with their head still on their head?
Well, there'll be mixed reaction to this, but my goaltending brain goes right to, I'd like to see 900 save percentage. I don't expect Skinner and Pickard to get back to 900 for the season. They're both well under it right now. They're both firmly in the 8s. But I think if you can get 900 save percentage goaltending, because these aren't huge, explosive offensive teams. So if you can get 900 save percentage, it gives you a really good chance to win. I'm looking at, I think that last game, the way Connor exploded there in the third period covered a lot of warts. That was not a very good game. Certainly not a good last 40 minutes. So I don't know. I'm still concerned. I feel like I'm looking at 3 wins on this road trip unless there's some major improvements made.
Yeah, I like that. I think that for now, the goalies, it's game by game. They've got to be game by game, thinking about having a good game, stopping 9 out of 10, giving their team a chance to win. I love that one. And of course, right now we're getting up to speed, brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's Canada is celebrating the return of hockey season with Fan Day deals every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Score a Big Mac McChicken or Filet-O-Fish Fan Day deal for just $4.49 plus tax, only through the McDonald's app. Download the McDonald's app to score great deals and earn My McDonald's rewards towards free McDonald's. Like we do have been the last couple of weeks, we're going to give out a free $50 gift certificate to a listener who can get into our DMs, our GYB Twitter account. We'll ask the question a little bit, so stay tuned for that. But we really appreciate McDonald's giving that up, and $50 goes a long way at McDonald's. So Zuby, you've outlined the netminders, and I think that's a great place to start. I'm going to put 2 kind of hand in hand a little bit. Defensive play. We know that the defensive play has been loose. It hasn't been as tight as it can. And this isn't just on the D-men, although the D-men have a much higher level of play than we've shown. Whether it's poor puck management, whether it's missed opportunities of checking someone, lifting sticks, all those things that are making them struggle, we know they can get to a higher level. So I'm looking at all that 6, including Regula, because I think he'll get into some games. They have to really get that focused in. So defensive play is huge. As I mentioned at the top, the Oilers are the 6th worst goals against per game, and that doesn't cut it. The PK, I think the PK has to be good. Now, the PK has been good. It's actually tied for, or it's 9th in the NHL at 82.6%. Their power play is at 3rd for 32.6%. So the specialty teams are doing well.
Yeah.
So when you put all the things, when we talk about the goaltending, we talk about the defensive play, then look at the PK and power play numbers. It's a 5-on-5 play that's hurting this team. The 5-on-5 play has not been good enough. Their power play and penalty kill are both inside the top 10. Their goals against is struggling. It's not the penalty kill that's killing them right now. It is their 5-on-5 play. So defensive play should be right at the top of everyone's mind, how they're feeling, what they're doing, and how they're preparing for this trip, Zuby.
Yeah. How about, and this would fall into defensive play, but how about play along the boards? I feel like when you watch this team, that ties into the way they defend as well. It just seems like they lose significantly more board battles than they win, and you see how many grade A scoring chances start there. Just, for whatever reason, that's just where they begin. And sometimes you have to watch the play a little bit further back in the goal to see that that's where it started. But I feel like that should be a big point of emphasis. And that's something you can practice too, right? Like that's not a system. That's like committing to what you're going to do in a board battle, right?
Well, and your point's really well made. What we're talking about with better defensive play, a lot of these are individual mistakes, not tactical. Your board play, that's individual issue as well. That's not a team issue. Winning or losing a puck battle on the wall, Zuby, that's individual play. That's not a team thing. Even the netminders, some of those goals that are creeping in, those are from misplays defensively. Like I go back to the Colorado game where Podkolzin, instead of going at the Cale Makar, he goes up against Devin Taves, and the puck goes to Carr, and he shoots it in. Interesting. I watched last night the Anaheim-Colorado game. They had that same lineup Colorado did. Anaheim sniffed it out. They were in the right place.
Oh, really?
So it does make a difference, right? This isn't magic these people are going and showing. but this is what it's all about, understanding what your assignment is in those moments. So board play, defense, defensive play, goalie play, and PK. Now those are four, and they're not. We didn't once talk about scoring. We didn't talk about scoring and outscoring power play, being more physical. We're talking about basics.
Yeah.
And if they can do that against pretty stingy teams defensively against, we might look at some lower scoring games as we go through it. Now, I believe we got Trent Frederick. Trent Frederick spoke this morning talking about, the fight he had. And obviously, it doesn't matter, win or lose, who cares? He showed up and fought. But he was asked about a 7-game road trip and what you do during the 7-game road trip. And I love this because he nailed it, Zoobs.
Okay, yeah, I just got, before we get to Jack here, we got Jack
Okay.
waiting, but also I started with, because he kind of references getting into the road trip, talking about the Columbus
Okay.
win, and then there's the second part of it.
It's huge. I mean, anytime you can get 2 points, it was a crazy game, entertaining game. But like anytime you get 2 points in this league, it's a good thing. And I think we still got a lot better, and hopefully we can carry that on from the road trip.
Are you guys preparing mentally for a 7-game road trip in the next 11 days? That's a lot of games.
Yeah, I think you just take it day by day. Get your rest when you can. Get good naps. Try to sleep well.
There it is. Pretty basic. Sleep, rest, eat, move on to the next trip. I'll say that when I was on some long trips, there'd be mornings you'd wake up and you didn't know where you were. You had no idea what city I'm in, what hotel I'm in, because you thought you were in one city or not the next. It's just really confusing. But nobody cares. You get up and play again. Nobody cares if you're tired because, in fact, they're happy you're feeling tired if you're going into their building. Okay, we'll get to the trivia question maybe after Jack there,
Yes.
Zuby.
Yeah.
But Jack Michaels, the voice of your Edmonton Oilers, and many people, he's in the city of Philadelphia. Many people might say he's Edmonton's Apollo Cree. Jack, welcome to the show.
Let's clarify. It wasn't like the travel grind or sleep that sometimes you'd wake up in cities and you didn't know where.
Hey,
And sometimes you had to play a little guilty. All right.
the odd time, but it was never my fault. The coach made me go out.
Jonah's not watching. You can be honest. There were a couple of times got after.
Fair point. It was like the hangover. I'm like, where the hell are we? What the hell happened last night? But those were the good times. So, Jack, you're out in Philadelphia. You're obviously traveling the team. Zach Hyman, that is, everyone wants to know, where is it at? His comeback, is he coming back tonight, or when are we going to see Zach Hyman?
He won't be back tonight. I have a sneaking suspicion he's not going to play Thursday in Columbus. I think the earliest you're going to see Zach is probably Saturday against Carolina. That's just what my gut tells me. We'll see. I heard, you were talking about the defense. I think Chris Knobloch ultimately defaults to, stick with a winning lineup. I think that's a tradition as old as the game itself. Going back to the days of your career. I think Emerson had some tough moments, but you could also, make the argument that Ty Emerson was not maybe on the list of guys who needed to come out when Regula was ready to play in the first. His
Fair point.
transgressions are far and few between compared to some other guys that are fixtures in the lineup. And in fairness to Chris, scratching them might be a nuclear option that you're not ready to go to at this point. I think there was some accountability the other night with Evan Bouchard. I think there's been some accountability with Darnell Nurse. So I think there's starting to be some accountability on defense, and I think, with Bouchard being, sent off for the undisciplined penalty the other night against Columbus, that's a message certainly that resonates through the room. And you just had Trent Frederick. Struddy, the one point I wanted to make at the outset of the show today, and I know this will be near and dear to you and some of the appreciation that you and some of your teammates had for this role in the game. But wasn't it curious that the other night, when you had all the crazy finish, the unbelievable 2 goals scored by the league's best player, Roslovic scoring against his former team, and against his hometown club, that the first thing out of everyone's mouths, players and coaches, was, how about the job by Freddie tonight fighting the league's toughest guy? That's the first thing any of those guys mentioned after the game.
You know, it's and I wanted to bring him up. I tell you what, that takes so much courage. I've been in fights before where you're going in and your best outcome is a tie. And that's not really fun. It's like if I said, Jack, lend me $1,000. I'm gonna invest it for you. The worst outcome is you lose it all. The best outcome is I give it back 1,000. And that's how it feels when you're getting to a fight like that. Trent Frederick offensively has been struggling. I don't think he's found his game yet, but I'm wondering if a night like that, the fight didn't go the way he wanted. Who cares? But I wonder if that kind of fills him and makes him just to walk a little taller. And we may see a little more offense out of the big man tonight, who's back on the third line beside Henrique.
Pat Maroon used to tell me whenever he felt like he was struggling or phased out or whatever, he'd go to the default position, even if it meant fighting a guy like Chara. And if you think about it, late in his career, no one was fighting Zdeno Chara more than Pat Maroon. I can think
Yeah.
of 3 Chara, and no one wanted to fight that guy, including a good friend and a colleague of ours in Louis DeBrusque. And what Louis always says, and you just echoed it, is forget the outcome of the fight, forget the result. Like you show up, and when a guy like Louis says like that, a guy like yourself like say that, it's cognizant of the role it has in the game. It's not about fighting per se. It's not about winning or losing a fight per se. It's about injecting some emotion and intensity in a game that otherwise might not have it. And it's not only picking yourself up, but it's picking your teammates up at a time of the season where, quite frankly, some guys in the Edmonton room are struggling to find motivation day in, day out. I think a lot of what's going on with Edmonton is up here, Struddy, and nothing to do with X's and O's. And I know what you're talking about in terms of board work and defense, but for me, all of that is a reflection of how focused and how concentrated you are on attention to detail. And for a club that's been back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals, I think you lose some of that. And when you get emotion and intensity in the game, it sharpens everything up, including attention to detail. Now, I never played a game in the league, but maybe is some of what I'm saying, does that jive with what you experienced as a player?
100%. And we're joined by Jack Michaels. You can check him out on Twitter at Edmonton Jack. He's the voice of Edmonton Oilers. And, Jack, you're 100% right. And I think that, when you watch the Michael Jordan documentary about his thing, he'd say when nights I didn't have going, I would just find someone and just go after that person. And they'd be like, what the hell? Like, I didn't do anything wrong, but he was picking a fight. And I think at times when you've been to the levels of the highest of levels for games as Oilers have, you have to find a reason to make someone on the other team be the bad guy. And I'd like to see more of that. And I'm going to pick out a couple guys here I think could bring that. I think Ekholm could do that. I think we haven't seen his most kind of physical play. Darnell Nurse as well. And Mangiapane. I think those are 3 guys. Trent Frederick was definitely singled out, and with reason. I mean, he could bring more. But those 3 guys, I think, along with Trent, if they can play a little bit more emotionally charged game, I think that helps fuel not just their own game, but I think their line mates and their teammates.
Well, and I think Edmonton needs to recognize they don't have the guy that dragged them into scrums, whether they wanted to or not last year.
Yeah.
That was Corey Perry. I mean, Corey Perry, whether it was to pick himself up or to get his teammates into a game that he didn't feel like they were competing hard enough in, he would go out and just, run a goaltender, face wash a guy. He was great at that. And I agree with you on Mangiapane. It's an underrated aspect of his game for me. Everyone gets so caught up in that 1 year where everything went in for him. It was 35 goals. Look, for me, Mangiapane's 35 goals is kind of the same as Tanner Jeannot's 24 or last year Matthew
Okay.
Olivier. Is it ever going to happen again? Probably not. And that's not diminishing what those guys did. But sometimes you have a year like that. And what Mangiapane brings through the course of his career has been that guy that you absolutely despise on the other team. He's
Yeah.
he's a lighter version and a less talented version of Brad Marchand. He's a guy that can get you 18 to 20 goals, but he's also a guy that can drive you insane if you're a player on the other team. And I bet you played a ton of guys that you knew it wouldn't look good on you if you simply, grabbed him and ragdolled him. But they were a guy that got under your skin. They were a guy that was effective around the net. And ultimately, they could be a guy that would take even a guy like you off his game mentally because you hated him so much.
And that's what they need from him right now. He's got, I think, 3 or 4 goals, which is, yeah, it's a good start, but they need him. They need him to bring that energy to this group because there are some players that are flat. And quite honestly, most of the team is flat. Last question for you, Jack. Zach Hyman was included in a Canada Olympic team that Mike Johnson and Craig Button put together for TSN. I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised that he was included on that. Now, their reasoning was to keep, get Connor, someone he knows and comfortable with, in such a short tournament. Hyman hasn't played for quite a while. Obviously, the injury, he'll be back soon. But knowing Hyman as you do you think that he is the guy that pick to play beside Connor in this going to be an insane Olympics coming up in February?
I have a different reason for you why you might include him. And I'm loath to call the Four Nations or an Olympics any sort of, exhibition event. But I do think there's value in putting together a team not simply comprised of all-stars and maybe not
Okay.
the best 21 you could send. But over the course of those 2 weeks, you're going to need a guy or two. And this is why I think, Tom Wilson, deserves massive consideration. You need a guy who's going to do some of the dirty work, some of the gritty work around the net, some of the, let's face it, these guys are signing up for 2 additional weeks of high intensity punishment. I mean, there's going to be, once
Oh
the
yeah.
tournament be hitting. There's going to be, I remember when McDavid came back to Edmonton last year, he said, whoa, this is a different pace than what I was just playing at Four Nations. It almost feels not in slow motion, but, a couple of degrees slower. You need a guy like Hyman. That Hyman does a lot of the gritty work around the net, the taking the cross checks from guys like you, absorbing punishment to knock in a few ugly goals. This is not an all-star game. The Olympic hockey tournament is not the NBA All-Star game. It's not a feel-good event with a bunch of throwdown dunks. By the end of the tournament, might be some highlight reel plays early in the tournament, but by the end of the tournament, it's the kind of game, the gold medal game is the kind of game where you might see a rebound whacked in for the winner. And for my money, there's fewer guys in the league that I can think of that are better equipped to handle that kind of situation around the net than Zach Hyman.
I love it. It'd be I hope he makes it. I think it'd be fantastic for him, and what a great representative for Canada. Jack, we'll hear the call tonight. You and Sweet Lou.
Yeah, me and Sweet Lou tonight. Also, Hyman, a bit of a glue guy. In that,
Yeah.
you want your team to gel as quickly as possible. As you were talking about, a lot of wide-ranging personalities all of a sudden mashed together in 2 weeks. Hyman's a bit of a glue guy that everyone can gravitate towards.
I love it. Well, listen for your call tonight, and thanks for your time there. Again, on Twitter, @Edmonton Jack. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, and we'll see you Wednesday from the U.S. Capitol.
I love it. Can't wait, buddy. See you later.
Cheers.
The great Jack Michael. What a guy. I love that guy. Okay, Zoops, we've got a $50 gift certificate giveaway for the first person that gets into our DMs at the GYB Twitter account with the correct answer. Again, you must be in Canada to enter. So what are you going to tantalize our listeners with today?
Yeah, and so the actual, just to clarify too, the Got Your Back Twitter account is at Got Your Back Pod, right? Let me triple check it. We want to make sure people can get in there. Yes, at Got Your Back Pod all together.
Okay.
So people can get in there, and the first one to come in with the correct answer will win this gift card. So here's, I actually kind of forgot about this, but a name popped into my head linking the Oilers and the Flyers with the game tonight. So I did a quick, who am I, based on this. So here we go. I am a retired NHL defenseman. That's clue number one. Clue number two, stay with me here. This is detailed. I was traded to the Oilers from the Flyers for the player who was the Oilers captain at the time of the trade. And the third clue is I suffered an injury in 2013 that led in part to the NHL changing the icing rules to the hybrid icing that we have today. Do you got a name, Struddy?
I think I do. Based on the last one there.
Okay.
So that's a good one, though. I like that. I really like that. All right. So if you know what it is, $50 gift civic, get into our Twitter handle, or DM as the kids like to call it.
Yeah.
And we love great stream. Tell a friend. We appreciate everyone joining. What we're going to do, we're going to take a pause right now. They're going to play the field and get back. We're going to look at this Craig Button, Michael Johnson, Olympic team. Guess next here on the show. Stay with us, everybody.
Warranties are useless if the company that sold it to you is nowhere to be found. With 20 years experience in Alberta, DLR takes pride in backing its products with honesty and integrity for the long haul. Because summers are for parties and toasts, not chasing warranty ghosts. Go vinyl at dlrvinylproducts.ca.
Dennis here from Weiss Johnson. Are you looking to get into the trades or have a kid graduating high school wondering what to do? Weiss Johnson is looking for career-minded people to work for us. Opportunities truly are endless. Become a service technician, gas fitter, refrigeration technician, install residential or commercial heating and plumbing systems, fireplace installations or service, duct cleaning. We are the company where you can learn all aspects of the trade and pick which career path to take. We have an awesome benefits package and offer school reimbursement too. Visit wjcareers.com today.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Before we get to playing the field, do we have a winner for the McDonald's $50 gift certificate?
I believe we do. I want to get back to it right away. It looks like the winner is Trizent, and he correctly indicated that it was Joni Pitkanen was the player we were looking for.
Pitkanen.
Who was traded for Jason Smith. Jason Smith went the other way in that deal, of course. So that was the clue about being traded for the Oiler captain.
Got it. I love it. Well, tune in. You can get a $50 gift civic. Fantastic. That's a lot of Big Macs and their special sauce. Okay, now let's get to playing the field, brought to you by our friends at HSE Core Services. Need a safety program? They build it. Need it managed? They've done it. Stuck with dealing with those online safety registries your clients make you sign up for? Yep, they handle those too. And yes, they also do core audits. Visit www.hseccore.com. That's HSECOR.com for more info. Okay, Zuby, let's see it. Craig Button, Mike Johnson of TSN put this team, their projected team as of November 10th or 11th. Not a lot of surprises, although there are two up front. Zach Hyman beside McDavid and Braden Point. Then Macklin Celebrini. He is...
Give me one second here. I'm going to bring this back for you, Struddy. I just had the wrong... Here we go.
No problem. And Macklin Celebrini on the team. Now, a couple of things you should know. No Seth Jarvis on this team. And he was on the team last year. Konechny was also on the team. On the team that wasn't before are Scheifele, Tom Wilson, Celebrini, Hyman. The goaltenders are Kempfer, Thompson, Binghamton. You can see the goalies are going to be a bit of a challenge. The one omission is Connor Bedard. Now, my opinion on what this team is, Suzuki's also on this team. I am looking at it, and they have changed a few. They have their template, obviously, with Nathan McKinnon and Connor and all those guys, Sam Reinhart, Sidney Crosby. I like the Zach Hyman beside Connor McDavid because it didn't look like last time Connor really found the guy to play with, right? Couldn't quite get it going, and they had everyone there. Mitch Marner, and obviously he was the one who passed him the puck. But I think they're trying to get people that are comfortable with each other right away in a short tournament. Tom Wilson, I love him because he's so different than everybody else, and he's playing really well. They need him on that team because he's so different than everybody else. Celebrini, I would choose over Connor Bedard because I think he's a little bit more mature away from the puck than Connor Bedard. Connor Bedard's time will come. It's just not this time. So the D is the same. Nothing's really changed. I'd have Harley in every game. I'm taking out either, God, I can't believe I say this, Morrissey or Sanheim, because I think Harley's that good. And should be noted, no Evan Bouchard. So when you look at this, what do you think of it, Zuby?
Yeah, I think I agree with, especially, I hadn't thought about sort of the short tournament side of things, but that makes a lot of sense to give guys who already have familiarity, let them play together. McKinnon and Crosby, obviously not teammates, but they're very familiar. McDavid, and give him Hyman. I like that. I hope Hyman can come in and kind of shoot the lights out a little bit early and justify that. I like Celebrini being in there. I understand the thinking of like, for a Celebrini or a Bedard, a young guy like that, if you're not putting him in the top 6, kind of what are you bringing him along for? Like I understand that line of thinking, but man, what do you want from this kid this year to either one of them really, but I agree that I think Celebrini is marginally ahead. Nick Suzuki, I really like this player. I don't know if, again, in a bottom 6 role, he's not that big. I feel like I'd bump those other guys up. Even if Suzuki was on the team, I think I'd have him more of like an extra. And I don't know, I think like Seth, to me, I'd have Suzuki out and I think I'd probably have Seth Jarvis. I don't know what Seth Jarvis has done to play himself off of this team. He was kind of a surprise on the Four Nations team, and I think he really delivered. So I'm not sure why Jarvis would have played his way out. He's had a great start to the year.
Now, it should be mentioned Scheifele is in this grouping, and I really like Scheifele. Now, people are concerned about his speed. I want Scheifele. McKinnon, McDavid, that's plenty of speed. I mean, how much speed do you need? And so I think that although, let's say Scheifele starts out of the lineup, I think he finds a way to get in there. I really do. And I think he'd actually maybe take out Bo Horvat. So it'd be Scheifele with Marchand and Tom Wilson. Now, one of the other players that is out would be Cirelli of Tampa Bay. Because you remember last time there was points, Cirelli and Hagel? Cirelli would be out. So it also matters what the coach thinks. The coach is the one that puts them on the ice.
Right.
And the coach has to trust these players and know these players. So the challenge, I think, for a guy like Celebrini making the team, if he does make it, is does the coach know him and trust him? And I think that's a big part of this equation. Maybe we can't forget to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Because I thought, Cirelli doesn't, turn my crank particularly. But I completely understand that the coach knows this player very well, trusts him. He's not there to contribute offensively. He's there to be a situational forward that this coach knows exactly what he can count on him for. So I defer to the coach probably knowing more about these guys than me.
Well, and so it's either he's coached them at the Four Nation or he coached them on Tampa. So I think the players that are trying to get on the team, it's a little harder because he doesn't really know you that well. And in those big moments, he has to know what player A, B, C is capable of. Let's move on now to the action last night. The Toronto Maple Leafs are taking on the Boston Bruins for the second time in 3 games. And a little while ago, Zadorov ran over Scotty Laughton. Big hit. I love the hit. And Laughton has since not played. He's been injured. And then last night in a loss, again, the second loss in 2 times, the Bruins beat the Leafs. This time Zadorov, though, hits Matthews with a questionable hit. It wasn't a massive from behind, but it was from behind. Now, Matthews did get up from the hit and kind of went after and hit Zadorov. And then he didn't play. He was injured. And after the game, Craig Berube said it was lower body. It could have been upper body the way he went into the boards, but it wasn't an egregious hit. It wasn't one of those hits where you're jumping out of your seats ready to murder someone if you're a Leafs fan. But Zadorov right now owns the Leafs. He owns them. And physically they don't really have an answer now. I thought Dakota Joshua was a guy that could do it. Also in that game, Stolarz left the game, and his is an upper body injury, although it doesn't seem too serious, although the goalie let in was pretty serious. But the Leafs are struggling in a lot of ways. It's kind of similar to the Oilers as far as their defensive play, but no Matthews, no Stolarz. Not sure when their other goalie's coming back. Could be a rough little weekend for the Leafs.
Yeah, and of course they lost Caden Primo to waivers. Not that he's not that he's was killing it or anything like that, but at least that's a little bit more of a known entity there in goal. Stolarz, I mean, this has been a rough, even though they won, after he, called out some of the players in the media, they did win. He did go on a little run there, won a few games, even though his personal statistics were not great, but the Leafs are in one right now because he hasn't been great. And like I said, I know how bad I feel even telling the in between periods, telling my team to smarten up and then skating down and letting in a muffin on the first shot of the third. And it kind of, it kills your cred kind of to tell the team to get it together and then not be pulling your own weight. So the Leafs are kind of a mess right now. And they say that Stolarz they think is short term. Berube said, I don't think it's that serious, but there's not a lot of, it's pretty quiet on the Auston Matthews injury front. And they that team does not need that. And other injuries coming out of last night too. Thatcher Demko, I don't know if you want to touch on that. A lot of that could be very serious, especially for the injury history he's had. And it didn't come from a play or a player falling on him, or like we didn't really know. He just didn't come out to start the second period, and that's, I think, pretty worrying for Canucks and their fans.
Yeah, I watched a bit of that game, and there was he looked like he was trying to move and trying to get it kind of going, like again, in the broadcast we're talking about, he didn't look himself in warm up. So there's some discomfort. I wondered the way he was moving, if it wasn't a groin issue. But I mean, I'm just speculating just from the way he was trying to stretch it out. And then lastly, Tom Shabbat got hit against Dallas and up against the boards, kind of fell back. Looks like to me like a back or rib issue. He left the game, didn't come back. So he's a pretty big part of their operation there, obviously. Okay, get on the stream and let us know what you think about the Olympic team. Do you want a lot of new players, or do you want the same team from Four Nations? I mean, it won. Didn't own it, but they won it. I don't think anyone's going to own that tournament. There's so much talent, including the Americans.
And maybe who's your our friend Kayla Weathorn coming in with a name that's not really heard. So maybe you've got someone else, a name that's not in the, because certainly there's lots of players who could be considered. The depth of talent, especially at forward, is so deep for Edmonton. For Canada rather. So if you've got another player you think maybe should be considered, go ahead and throw that name in the stream as well.
Great one. And Brownie, thanks for reminding me. Brownie Oilers. What's Strud's predictions for the road trip? I'm going to say they have to get minimum 8 points. So I have it at 4-3. That's what I have written down here. 8 points. I think they can get home with that. This is based on the way they're playing, who they're playing against, and the length of the road trip. I think 8 points would be fantastic, Zuby. So split that up any way you want. Do you have one?
I'm kind of feeling something like 3-3-1.
Okay,
I'm not
7
super
points.
Confident.
Okay.
That would be 7 points. I think there's 3 that they got to win. And I don't know. I still feel like there's so many new forwards. A bunch of them are young. Hyman's going to be coming, but there's still, these might sound like excuses, and maybe they are, but I still think a better version of this team is going to reveal itself, and it might take time. And if they're hanging around at 500, right, I think we just kind of have to be okay with that. And hope that we see improvements, fewer of the big mistakes, less funky goals going in, and look for a few of those things, and the rest will come around.
So let us know what you think they're going to do, maybe what they need to do. Again, we're about the same, around 500, but Hyman coming back, maybe that's a spark. Flyers, Jackets, got to win these 2 to start off. Let's pause. When we come back, NBA revealed their master plan to redo their All-Star game again. We'll get to why we think that is or isn't a good move next here on the show.
The new McVeggie. Now at McDonald's.
Our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
So I'll introduce it, and you take it over and kind of get the nuts and bolts. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in today on your lunch hour. It's time now to get off the fence. Brought to you by our good buddies at DLR Vinyl Products. Why would you? If you want a deck that lasts, you need to check out Becca Deck and Wolf Serenity. Exclusive boards with a pure PVC core, resistant to water, mold, and insects. With a natural wood grain finish protected by UV inhibitors, your deck stays looking new without the sanding and staining of wood. In stock now at both Edmonton and Calgary locations. Visit www.dlrvinylproducts.ca. So the NBA, I get it. They're trying to make their All-Star game interesting, competitive. I think and we've seen them go to the one where we had to reach a certain score. Well, this year it's a different format, kind of like Ryder Cup, US versus the world, Zuby.
Yeah, and I love the idea, the bigger concept here, USA versus the world. I love it. Let's, I'm all in on that. I wish they would do, when they did whatever the World Cup was, what was the World Cup in hockey where they had Team North America? That was like an interesting way to do this format, right? With fewer teams. So it's kind of something like that, but what they've done here is make this like incredibly convoluted. So let me try to lay it out for you as best I can. So basically the breakdown of players in the NBA is that it's 2/3 American and 1/3 international. So taking those numbers, what they've done is they said, okay, we're going to have 3 teams, I think 3 teams of 8, something like that. And they're going to be 2 US teams and 1 international team. They're going to play a little sort of a mini round robin. And then the 2 teams with the best record of the round robin will play in like the championship. Now, of course, in all likelihood, it'll probably end up being the 2 American teams. And this whole idea will just like be flushed. It'll be the 2 US, which is fine. I mean, there's amazing players. But what makes it even more convoluted is that they're still doing, I guess, the balloting by conference. They're not separating it by where the players are from. So they're basically admitting that the numbers of the players might not work out to have 16 Americans and 8 internationals. So if there's a couple extra Americans, they might put them on the international team and say, oh, they have some tie to, Lithuanian heritage or whatever, like take somebody and put them on that team, or vice versa. If there's more internationals, put them on the American team and say, I don't know, he's married to an American woman, I don't know. I'm joking about that, but that's like, so they take this, like, it's a great idea. I think the concept is great. Even like the round robin thing, I don't mind that. It's kind of interesting because you get to see all these players playing against each other, but then you're going to run it back with the championship game of being 2 teams that have already played each other. And the international team could end up having only 6 internationals on it, or 5 or whatever, so it's just like, it's taking a great idea. And then I think they've completely lost it in the details here, Struddy.
And you absolutely nailed it. So one of the other details is they're playing 4 quarters. So A versus B, 12 minutes. B versus C, 12 minutes, second quarter. A versus C, third quarter. Then the winner, fourth quarter, will be winner versus winner. Right. And like, I get it. So they don't want to do more time. And I do understand that. But the guys are actually all only going to play, 2 quarters, maybe 3. It's really confusing. I honestly think I like the draft way better. I liked where the guys drafted and they try to make it happen. I think the NBA has to accept the fact that their All-Star weekend is never going to be competitive. It's never going to be that compelling. It'll be interesting for those that are in the building, seeing their stars play. What I would like to see, I'd like to see them radically push the best dunkers to get into the dunk contest. That to me is where all the flash and dash should be. I remember growing up, Michael Jordan was in it, Dominique Wilkins, all these elite dunkers. Now you're getting guys that don't play much who are in the dunk contest. That to me should be the crown jewel of the weekend, the dunk contest. It always was. And I saw, who was it? Vince Carter. He was begging guys like Zion Williamson to get involved in the dunk contest. Anthony Edwards, get in the dunk contest. Like, show us what you can do. And I don't know why guys don't want to anymore. Show off your moves. Show off that you're a stud. So I don't love the idea of the tournament, USA versus Europe, because it would be awkward if you have Europeans playing on an American team. It makes no sense. But keep in mind, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the reigning MVP. He's going to be on the team, world or Europe or whatever you want to call it. But There's so much they can do. And the dunk contest, man, they got to get those guys back in there.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time, and maybe it was just being younger, but I do feel like there was a time the dunk contest was must-see TV.
It was meaningful, man. Spud Webb, all those guys killing it. Sean Kemp, the Rainmaker, so much fun.
Yeah, so I mean, I think maybe we just always have to come back to the idea that that All-Star games are for the kids, really, except but Major League Baseball. And I think it's just a nature of the game that they can play an intense game typically without, pitchers can throw for 1 inning. They can play an intense game without worrying about looking foolish or injuring themselves. And I think that's always the big issue with the more contact sports playing an All-Star game. And it'll always be the issue. So I don't know what the answer is, Struddy, but it sounds like you have one, so I'll side with you.
Well, and listen, when you watch the Major League Baseball All-Star game, you're watching for the home run derby. That's the crown jewel to me. Like the game itself. Listen, I'm a casual baseball fan until you get to the playoffs. I'm not interested in the All-Star game. I couldn't care less. But I watched the home run derby. That is the best part of it. So it feels like right now there are more high-level players wanting to play in the 3-point challenge that the NBA does. And okay, I get it's not very physical, but to me, there's really no excitement. Like you make the shot or you don't. There's no creativity to it. You just shoot it from outside the arc. But you bring back the thrill of the best dunkers and most athletic guys in the dunk contest. It gets the energy around that term. And I believe it used to, and it doesn't anymore. And just go look at baseball. That home run derby, that is it. People want to see it, man. They want to see who's got the biggest bat. I don't think the 3-point does it.
Especially the guys who are, like I understand LeBron not wanting to do it, but the young big stars should be in the dunk contest.
Get in there. Michael Jordan did it. I don't want to be the guy, old man yelling at clouds, but he is, if not the biggest, one of the 2 biggest stars of maybe any sport in North America. And he did it many times. So I don't know. I think that Zion Williamson can get himself out of his tracksuit and get on there and make it happen. Tell us what you think. Jump in on the stream. We've got a great people turning in today, so check it out. Now we want to hear from you. Time for Ask Struds, brought to you by Timber House Developments, the leader in custom and infill development, with the knowledge and experience to bring your dream to life. If you're tired of cookie cutter, copy and paste designs with no soul, see the team at Timber House and discover how your naturally inspired living can make your life better. Take all the guesswork out of your infill project and work with experienced leaders. Visit timberhouse.ca. And Zuby, what are the people asking for today?
Travis Farquharson pointing out, I think it's nuts that the Oilers will be done all their Eastern road games by December 18th, their 35th game of the season. Second half should be so much easier. Struds, from how much do the guys sense that? Does it feel different to be traveling more in your kind of area of the country or of the continent? Will the guys feel that? And do you see things lining up better for this team in the second half, in part because of that and chemistry starting to come together with some of these younger players?
I really like that point. And so it's not just the distance, right? Going to the Eastern time zone, because, flying from Edmonton to, LA is 3 hours. It's not like it's a short flight. But what it is, it's a time zone change. I always found the time zone was more difficult. So just put yourself in the Oilers' position. You got to fly from Edmonton to Philly. That's 2 hours time change. So you leave here at, let's say it's 9 a.m. Let's just call it a 5-hour flight. So it's 9. You arrive there at 2 Edmonton time. Well, all of a sudden that's 4 o'clock your time. So you missed the whole day. And then you get there. By the time you get into the hotel, it's 5 o'clock. It's time to eat supper. Well, your body's telling you it's still mid-afternoon. And now, okay, so I'll have dinner at 6 o'clock their time, 4 o'clock our time. And then you get to your room. It's saying it's 10 o'clock Philly. It's only 8 o'clock Edmonton time. But you got to get your mind shut off and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you're able to fall asleep around midnight Philly time. It's 10 o'clock our time. No problem. Well, you got to get up the next morning at, let's call it 8:30 to get down or even 9. Let's call it 9. Well, that's 7 o'clock your time. So now you've gone to bed earlier than you wanted and gotten up earlier, but your body is all jacked up. But I know people are saying, well, they're supposed to, they work hard. I work hard. Yeah, I get it. But these guys have to be fresh and ready to go. You need them at an optimal level of rest. And that time change is what always I thought was the hardest. It would just jack me up. So yeah, I think it'll be fantastic. They're done their Eastern time zone. I think it's great. And it will have an impact on the second half because although they still may have long flights, they won't be bouncing in and out of different time zones.
Hey, change the clocks 1 hour, and my kids all of a sudden are waking up in the 5 a.m. Hour for 2 weeks here. So thank you very much. So I can appreciate the change in time zones. Queen Bee Amy wants to know, would you change anybody in tonight's lineup? What did you see? We've talked a little bit about Regula, but what else did you see from tonight's lines that stuck out to you?
Yeah, I did think Emerson had a tough night the other night. I would have put Regula in. Not even a question. I would have put him in there. And I'm the guy who always fights to not change winning lineups. So if I'm saying to change it, you should probably change it. Now, the Oilers do have too many D-men. Right now they have, their top 5. Then they have Emerson, Stetcher, and Regula. So they can't keep them all. I'm guessing maybe they don't think they can get someone through waivers. So are they trying to play Emerson with the intention of trading him? Listen, I'm no insider. I don't know, but to keep playing him after that game, are you trying to get him, trying to move him? And there's a player in Emerson for sure. I think there is, and we've seen him last year, and he played some playoff games last year. But that being said, the Oilers have too many D, and you can't carry around 8 D men all year. It's unmanageable. So maybe they're trying to get him shown and then flip him for a draft pick at some point sooner than later.
I guess so. That just doesn't. I understand there's some chatter around that, some rumors. It does to me that doesn't make a ton of sense. You're trying to showcase a number 6 or 7 defense. Like, what do you think you're gonna? What do if who he is? Like, I don't think anything's gonna show in 11 minutes or whatever of more than what the guy is. If people are interested, they're interested. I don't know that I understand that's what's out there, but does that jive for you?
Well, I think he played 16 minutes the other night, which was a bit of a surprise. It's like, wow, that seems like a pretty rich number considering just the way the game was going for him. And listen, he's not the only one. It's not like it's not him, all on him. But I understand what you're saying. Like, you should know what he is. Like, you should know what he is right now if you're interested in trading him. And I agree with that. But there is a player there. But you think about Gustav Forsling got picked off waivers by the Florida Panthers. So, I don't know if I'm saying Emerson is Gustav Forsling, but you can get deals on, players. And I don't know, a pick, I don't think it's going to be a super high pick, but if you can get an asset for a guy that you have replaced with Regula, I think that makes sense because the Oilers right now don't have a ton of assets. They got to find a way.
I just think you're going to get whatever you're going to get. He's on a deal for this year and next, right? At a pretty serviceable number. Teams that need a 6th defenseman, there's got to be a market for him already. Is my point, but
fair point. Yeah,
maybe not. Haggard Prospector said, going back to Trent Frederick, I don't expect Frederick to fight the toughest guy in the league. Just play hard in the corners and in front of the net. I did, you can just kind of comment on his game, Struddy, but, I did notice, if you looked at his post-game comments from the night, I think it was the night they lost 9-1, and obviously everyone was down, but then his media availability too with the shiner and everything, like he's really like, he seems like he's in a much better place. It could be just even those moments in time, but he does look like he's like carrying himself higher regardless of the outcome of the fight he was in.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, I made this point on the Gotcha Back pod. If you're a guy with the intention of fighting over the course of the year, fight early, get it out of the way so everyone knows and no one's questioning, like, does he want to do that anymore? Like, I never wanted anyone to say, Strudwick doesn't want to fight anymore. I would fight anyone. I'd fight anyone anytime, and I'd lose a lot of them. But you've got to just get it out of the way so everyone knows. And I think that was the mistake that Trent made. Wasn't taking the fight with, or asking for the fight with Olivia. I think that was very, very courageous. But early in the year, he could have found one. And then it's over. And then the media, the fans aren't on you about it. And they're not wondering if you're doing it or not. You've done it already. Then you can pick and choose. Because I think he was kind of backed into the situation where he had to take that fight. And, love that he did it. And, like we talked earlier with Jack, I think there's an opportunity he's going to get some points here rather quickly. And I sure hope he scores one tonight in Philly, the city of brotherly love.
Yeah, and I think also if you're looking for that fight early, you could be out there being a bit of a menace. You could be running around getting under guys' skin, seeing who's going to be a taker, even if you don't get one in the first game, second game, third game. And at least you might be on somebody's radar. I don't know. I would have liked to.
And the thing is, it's now that you fought him, there's really nowhere to go but down. That's like fighting, the super challenge, the champion of the league. Everyone else is easier than him. Not to say you can beat them, but it's only downhill from there.
It's like fighting Clubber Lang in your first fight, just breaking in.
Exactly.
Okay, last one. I'll just I asked people if they had any other ideas for the Olympic roster. Kayla Weethorn, we know she's a big Stars fan. She says, put Wyatt Johnston on y'all's radar. That's a name that hasn't really come up. The guy's 22. He's a stud, and I haven't heard that name, and I think it's worthy of being in the discussion.
Oh, talented player. I mean, he's really talented player. And I guess she's talking about putting on the Team Canada Olympic team.
Yes, sorry if I didn't clarify that.
Size, I would say size would be a bit of a concern. When I look at some of the others on that team, look at some of the other size guys they have on there, like a Shifley and these types of guys are a little bit bigger. Really talented. I haven't heard his name mentioned at all. I think it's unlikely he is on the team. We're talking about the 14 best forwards in Canada. If he's number 18, that's still pretty good, but you're a long ways away from number 1. So Kyle, I hear what you're saying. I get it, but I don't think that he's going to be in that conversation at all.
All right. Well, as we wrap it up here, I'll also just say that we did Trizent. I'll send you confirmation over on the Twitter, but you were the trivia winner today for the McDonald's gift card, and the answer was Yoni Pitkinen. Anyone just catching up?
Yoni.
Here?
The great Yoni Pitkinen. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate Zuby. I love that. It was I got through a lot of stuff and set everyone up for the Oilers road trip. 7 games. We've got 8 points and 7 points. If they do more than that, it's amazing. If they do less, it's going to be a challenge. But let's hope they start rounding the form and start saying Philly, Columbus tomorrow. We'll have Got Your Back podcast after both games. Zuby will be busy behind the desk, so we'll keep them organized and tight for that. Zuby, any final words before we set off for the afternoon?
No, I'm just looking forward. I'll rest a little bit here maybe in the afternoon, and we'll be ready to go for this early start, 4:30 start out here in Pacific time zone. So it'll be a quick turnaround.
Nice to get to bed early as well. Zuby, thanks for this, and thanks to everyone who listened. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Check out all our socials for when we have the next one, but it's Got Your Back tonight after the Oilers and Philly game. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll talk to you later tonight.
So long.